Welcome to the London Horror Movie Club. I'm horror writer Lauren Jane Barnett.
And I'm Chris Sapikowski, Lauren's older brother, and I've been watching horror movies since I was 8.
Join us as we talk about the wild, weird, and wonderful horror films set in England's eerie capital. Thanks for joining us, horror fans. This month on the London Horror Movie Club, we have a model and actress who you might have seen in The Moon is a Hologram, as well as on the pages of Elements magazine and the most recent cover of DarkSide Magazine. Known for her horror look, she's also the ambassador for Shed of Hell, a new 2-day horror festival taking place at the Good Shed in Rushden next month. Welcome, Lili Thorpe.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Thanks so much for coming on. So we will definitely get to Shed of Hell because I know you're really excited about that. But I wanted to start asking because you are one of the few people who gets to be known as a horror model, which is such a cool title. But tell us more about what that means and like what it means in terms of the work that you do.
So it started a couple of years ago when I've always been interested in like gothic clothing and horror and things like that. And then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it into my modeling as well. Because a lot of when people say like models, it just comes across as like, like catwalk models and things like that. So I started to incorporate it into my work as well. And it started with me doing it was Born in Blood. It was a book made by Nick Hardy. And he literally just went, hold your breath, sprayed blood all over me, and we did poses and things like that. And then it then became sort of something that I was like, I really enjoy this. Like, it's a good challenge to do. And I was like, yeah, I've got to go for it. So I started adding in like vampires and zombies, ghosts, blood, just anything gory. I love stuff like that. So then it just became part of what I can do as well.
That is so cool.
Very cool. Were you always, was it more on the fashion side, or did you grow up watching horror movies? Did you like that genre?
Yeah, I did. Like, unfortunately, I didn't grow up with them because I had a very strict grandmother I lived with. But I did always kind of gravitate towards like the macabre and the kind of spooky sort of things. I loved it. Like I grew up with like a lot of like ghost story books, and I would watch like murder documentaries and things like that. And Midsummer Murders, if you've heard of it.
I have.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I kind of like watched with my nan growing up. So it kind of always fascinated me. And I never really got, when I first started modeling, I never really got a chance to do it. And then when I did, I was like, I love it. I've got to keep doing more of this.
That is very cool. Do you have a sort of first horror movie that you remember finally being able to watch? Was it something you had been looking forward to? Did it happen by accident?
I would say, I can't remember the first one I did, but I remember the one that stuck in my mind. It was The Thing. I saw it in cinemas, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I saw it in cinemas.
There is something nice about being able to see it in the theater with like the big screen around like other people, as opposed to just sitting in your living room or what have you, like renting it.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree.
Since you end up doing some of your own makeup, did watching The Thing make you think like, oh my God, how do I do something like that, like special effectsy, or what was your response?
I mean, I'm very terrible at makeup, but I was like, yeah, I've got to go for it. I've got to do something with this. And I've talked to like a couple of the film crews that I've worked with as well, and The Thing actually like inspired them to get into like special effects and to makeup and things like that. And I like that it kind of made, once it came out, this like generation came out, I was like, I love this. It's inspired me to do something now. And that's what I love about horror. It always inspires people to do things and to go, you know what? Yeah, I want to try this. And, you never know where you're going to go with it.
Right. That's really, yeah, it definitely brings out the creativeness for everybody. What you started with the modeling and then you've kind of ventured into the films. Do you like doing the films? Is that something that you're gonna keep going forward?
Yeah, like definitely. Like I saw like this message once, like this casting call come up about like, oh, we just want extras in the film, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. Why not? It's something new. I always like a good challenge. and it was for films confiscated from a French brothel, which are also the makers of Moon is a Hologram. And I was only had a bit part in it, but I was like, oh, I really like doing this. Like, I was just like an extra, and it wasn't a big part, but it kind of sparked something inside me where I was like, I love this. I want to do it more. I love seeing behind the scenes of it, working with new people I've never met before. It was amazing. So I do want to carry on with that. Like, fingers crossed, I do get in some more films, throughout the years.
Would you like to tell us a bit about either that film or about The Moon is a Hologram and like what you got to do in it?
Yeah, of course. So with The Moon is a Hologram, I was an alien in it. So I only had a small part in it, which was amazing just to be there. But it was like with a lot of film, like smaller film companies and productions and things like that, they were always like a family. Like you always meet someone that you'll carry on talking to afterwards. You'll see behind the scenes, so you'll kind of understand what they're doing in like their work, and you get to see like people. Like I love seeing like actresses and actors kind of do their thing, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was amazing, like well done. I just love the whole thing of it. Especially with them, they are a family, and it's nice to kind of see that they have carried on throughout the years from me doing a little small part in something years ago, and then recently it's nice to see them still going, really.
Very cool. So you're doing the Shed of Hell, and it's a film festival. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So it's not a film festival, it's an event. So
Oh, I'm sorry, event.
No, it's fine. So it's held in Rushden, and it is a horror event with a little sprinkle of sci-fi as well on the Sunday. It will be running between the 5th and the 6th of July. And from what I can see, it looks like it's going to be amazing. We've got a really cool amount of guests. We've got a lot of people already interested. We're getting, like, for example, like on the Instagram, we're getting a lot of comments being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to see like this guest, and I can't believe like this is going to happen in the event. And it's really nice to see that it seems like this big network of people from around the country. I think we've even got someone from, I believe, Australia as well, maybe even America, coming over just to experience it. So it seems to have kind of spread more than I ever thought, was possible. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I think sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Festival's such a good word for it, because like the more you see about it, the more you hear about it. It's like going to like a Glastonbury of horror. There's loads of events and things happening all around you, as well as all the guests. I know there's going to be like body painting. I think there's like performers there. Would you tell us more about like the atmosphere stuff that's going to happen?
So we have burlesque dancers, we have a live singer. As you said, we have like a body painter, we'll have cosplayers, we have a tattoo artist, we have food trucks that will be selling like really, really fresh food. We've got a vast range of traders. Like we've not just got like, people selling horror merch. We've got that, but then we've also got people that are making like candles, people that have got like with the sci-fi stuff as well. We've got sci-fi. We've got people selling like little models that we've made. We have people that are selling like handmade little ghosts that you can take home and adopt and things like that. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of people, like taxidermists, and we also have for the sci-fi for the Sunday. We have a TARDIS, and I possibly believe, I don't know if it's 100% at the moment, but we might even have like a Dalek as well. So yeah, we're trying to get it really interactive. So it's going to be, there are a lot of things that will be family friendly. There are some over 18 stuff, so it's up to the parents to kind of shield the kids' eyes. But we have things for everyone. So it's hopefully going to be amazing. Like I said, we've had people that are like, oh, we're so looking forward to it. Tickets are like flying out the door. It's great, and it's nice to see that if something, like if we've not thought of something, someone goes, oh, what about this? And we go, yeah, we'll have that. We actually care about the people that are coming. We want to make sure that everyone that comes has something for them.
Right. How did you get started with this?
So years ago, I went to an event and I met Rick Melton and Mike Smith. And I started talking to Mike, and Mike was like, "Oh, why don't you come and help us behind our stall?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine." And then since then, I've kind of been adopted onto their stall, and I've just now I travel around with them whenever we've got a stall. So I've done like a lot of conventions, and I've done like a horrorcon and things like that with them. And then Mike was like, "I've got this idea. I want to make an event, and I want to make it affordable for traders. I want to make it affordable for the people that are coming there. I want a good amount of guests. What do you think?" And I was like, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Let's go for it. I didn't know this, but Rick said he wants to paint me at some point, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's amazing. You know, like I feel so honoured about it. He then painted me, and then that's Mike's idea was that now becomes the picture of the shed of hell. So then I became the face of the shed of hell, yeah. And I was still like dumbstruck that Rick wants to paint me. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then next thing I know, oh yeah, you're gonna be on flyers, you're gonna be on posters, your face is gonna be on a magazine, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I couldn't quite process it. Like as quickly as it was coming in. So it was really scary because it all kind of came so quick, and I feel honoured that I was able to be part of, you know, like them and their stall, but also to kind of like it. I love the guys. I really do love the guys, and I'm so glad that this is working well for Mike, and I'm so glad that Rick is where Rick is, you know, with his books and his paintings and things like that. And I'm really proud of the guys. So, you know, and I'm honoured that I'm part of them.
You've always mentioned Rick Melton. It's an incredible painter and illustrator, and he did the what isn't the most recent at the moment this is being recorded cover of DarkSide has that iconic image of you with the zombie above you, and I'll pop it up here. What's it like sitting for that? Were you actually like dripping with blood? How does the process work?
So with that one, that was actually a photo shoot that I did for. So it was a photo shoot at a studio called Zavod Studio in Sheffield, and I was with a male model for Fernando George, and we were doing so I had a studio day done, and that was one of the photos that was taken. I loved it so much. Like that photo had already been in a couple of magazines, but I loved it. And Rick saw that and went, "That's my reference image." He just saw it and was like, "That's the one. That's what I'm going to paint." And it kind of just became then a painting. You know, like he saw one thing because like some artists do, they see something and they're like, "That's it. Like that's what I was looking for." And then yeah, it just became a painting. And I had no idea until like Mike was sending me pictures of in the studio going, "Oh yeah, here's your painting." I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, look, I had no idea. Okay, that's amazing."
Nope. Sorry, I think I'm freezing a little bit.
Sorry, Lily. So when you're at Shed of Hell, then obviously you're the face, but are you going to be involved with doing the behind the scenes stuff? Will you be one of the people dressed up? What'll you do on the various days?
So I'll be there like on my little area. I've got a couple of photos that I'll be selling, but I'll also be helping out with the store for like Rick. I'm also behind the scenes already in the event, so if anyone has talked to the the Shed of Hell on Instagram and Facebook, it will either be normally Mike that's replying or it will be me. I'm the Shed's little spider. So if you ever get a reply saying that at the bottom of the Shed's little spider, it's me. So I'm kind of like helping with like the social media side of it. I'm like looking for people as well, like with the traders and everything, and I'm talking to the traders. So I want to be like a good part of this, and Mike was like, "Yeah, I want you to be a good part of this as well." So I'm helping him out as much as possible because I have a lot of belief that this is going to be amazing and it's going to go down, and people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, do you remember the Shed of Hell?" And I'm like, and people are like, "Yeah, it was great." Because once it starts, if people love it, we are definitely going to do more, like 100% going to do more. And yeah, it seems like it's going to be just an amazing thing, and I'm honoured just to be part of it. You know, let alone the face of it. But yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait.
Do you find that with doing all the work beforehand, is it do you get to relax when the event finally comes in, or do you feel like that your mind will still be racing kind of 100 miles an hour to get things right or to do everything, or will it just be a big relief and like you're like, let's just all enjoy this weekend and this event?
I think, I mean, most of the pressure is on the person that created the event, Mike's shoulders. With me, I just want to make sure it's going to be the best event for me,
Right.
for the guests, for the traders, for everyone. You know, I don't really have much pressure. It's all on Mike, unfortunately. But I think I'm just excited. Like, I'm just really excited at the moment. So I don't really. I'll probably like process everything that's happened after the event and be like, oh my gosh, that was really stressful. But for now, I'm just excited. Like
Yeah.
it's slowly getting closer, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait.
I know you've been to a lot of festivals and cons and things like that. We've seen each other at quite a lot of them. What
Yeah.
are some of the things that you love about them? What are some of the things that keep you going back to various different ones?
So I think it kind of ties into like the same reason that I did modeling and acting. I get to meet new people that I would never meet on the street. You know, like if I just had a 9 to 5 job, I'd be with the same people. I'd, go into work, leave, I'd never interact with anyone else. Like, I love meeting new people and being like, hey, tell me your story. Like, who are you? What are you about? What's your job about? And I love meeting directors. I love meeting authors and, and just people that love watching movies because you'll always learn something new and you'll always experience something new that you never would if you didn't go to the event. So it's nice that everyone can kind of meet people that they never would, and that's what I love about it.
That is very cool. Yeah, that's a good. You're just saying that, and I was thinking, yeah, you kind of you get to a point where you meet the same people every day, but when you get to go out and venture out and meet brand new people this weekend, or like in next month you meet different people, that is very cool, and it probably allows you to keep your creative part of your mind very open because you're meeting so many people with different ideas or doing different things. So that's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have met you two if I hadn't, and it's nice because you guys have so much creativity. It's amazing to see because like not everyone has creativity. And some people are kind of like bogged down with like just everyday 9 to 5 life, and it can kind of kill your creativity. You don't have an outlet for it. And events are like an outlet for it. Even if you just go in there just to look around stalls, it's still fresh views that you're seeing, with like films, if it's like a film festival, or if you go to like a trader event like Shed of Hell, it's things that you never would see if you just hadn't stepped out your door. And it's nice that people have that opportunity, especially when it comes to like horror, because you don't see a lot of horror things every day because it's very, you shouldn't mention it in polite conversation, and it's nice that everyone has a place to go to.
I like to think that anything horror related is impolite conversation, but that's just me, and maybe that's why my friend circle is where it's at.
That's true. I know that you obviously watch a lot more horror movies now and things like that. Have you seen any recently that you really either loved or hated?
Oh, I saw Terrifier 3 in the cinema, but like I said, you can't really mention that in polite conversation because it's like, oh yeah, blood and gore, and they're like, what? I'm like, oh, yeah, so it's a horror film, and a lot of people don't understand it, but yeah, like I really enjoyed that. I watched both Pet Cemeteries as well recently to kind of like compare because I've never seen them. I was like, oh, I've got to definitely like watch Pet Cemetery. So yeah, and not too long ago, I actually watched Friday the 13th. I watched all of them because I'd never seen them as well. Like I'd never been able to. So yeah, have you guys seen any recently?
Oh, go.
I actually went and saw Final Destination Part 5 last night.
Mm-hmm.
We are. I'm around a drive-in movie theater, so my whole family is here. My kids are back from school for the summer, and we all got in the truck and we went to this drive-in theater, and it was it's kind of nostalgic in the sense because there's not a lot of drive-in theaters anymore. And it's just you drive your car into a field and then you turn your radio to a certain dial and then you hear the movie through that. But and it was exactly what you wanted. It was I don't know if you've seen any of the Final Destinations. It's basically it starts off with someone cheating death or giving you a premonition of death and saving themselves and a bunch of people. Well, they were all supposed to die in this certain way, and then the rest of the movie is just jump scares and elaborate deaths as death chases the people that escaped. So it was 100% what I wanted. And I was like, this is great. You get to hear people like two cars down. You'll hear like, oh my God, and you're just like, it just adds to it. So,
But that's
yeah,
what you
no,
want. It's
I
an
just went to,
experience.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I did see that one recently. Lauren, did you see anything recently?
I'm really jealous you've seen Final Destination. It's on my list because we had HorrorCon last weekend, and this weekend it's been a little busy. But little bit before that, I saw Hard Eyes. Have either of you two seen Hard Eyes yet?
No, I heard that it was good though.
I will be I don't want to ruin anything. I'd be very interested to know what you think of it because it's going for something really specific. It's going for anybody who's seen like the cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies, that kind of that cheesy. It's going for like a horror take on that, or like a horror joke on that. And some parts are, I think, done really, really well, and other parts aren't necessarily done as well. But I'd be interested. I don't want to ruin it for you. I'd be interested to see what you think of the whole thing as a whole. I loved. This has happened to me a lot actually lately. I loved the first scene a lot, and then the rest of the movie I didn't like as much. But it wasn't terrible. It was entertaining. It wasn't like at the bottom of the barrel either. It's one of those movies.
Oh,
It's
it's
kind of
worth
in the
the watch
middle,
for sure.
and
Yeah.
you'll enjoy it. But I'd be really interested to know what you think, especially since you grew up in that world of like, oh, you can only watch these like schmaltzy, cutesy movies. You can't watch any of the cool, fun, gory stuff.
I'm curious, what did you think of Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
And you watched all of them because I probably last summer, purchased all of them and watched them in order. And it's ones I hadn't seen since I was, unfortunately, unlike you, I watched those movies when I was like at 7 years old, 8 years old. I was watching the first one and the second one. But what did you think of those?
I love them. I actually have a oversized shirt that I use for my pajamas that says "It's prime time, bitch." I love it. I love it. I enjoyed them. I didn't like the remake, but I watched them like you. I watched them from like the first one all the way through. I was like, I'm gonna binge them. And yeah, I really enjoyed them. I thought it was a good mix of comedy and horror because it was a little bit silly, but it was still like really visually shocking. And I do like that in some films. If I recently watched like The Monkey, and that was silly, but it was gory, and some people are like, oh, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, because you don't have to get it. It's just a silly movie that's got gore in it. There's no, it exists because it exists. That's it. It was entertaining, and I love that in films. I also watched like Jeepers Creepers as well, and Jeepers Creepers was good. Did not like the remake either, but
nope.
I'm like straight original.
I just watched Jeepers Creepers. I had seen it before. My son is 15 and is now starting to, in the last couple of years, be able to watch more of the slasher films, loves the Halloween films, stuff like that. Still not a huge gory person, but we watched Jeepers Creepers, and I think at least 3 or 4 times in that movie, he was like, nope. Like would not be doing that, but that means that he liked the movie. Like he was just like, don't do that. Like you go down that tube where like they throw the bodies and stuff. But then by the end, he was just like, oh, of course, it's just some monster that comes out every 28 years or whatever. But yeah, no, those are fun movies. They don't always have to mean something great. It's just like, were you entertained for 2 hours long? So.
If he doesn't like gore, I definitely wouldn't suggest Walrus then.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
No, that's definitely for when he's older, I think.
I'll let him find that. There's some movies I'll let him find on his own. That might just never get found. That's okay. I've seen it. I enjoyed it. I watching Justin Long get slowly turned into a human walrus is not. I mean, I coming from the guy that was a Mac. Like he got to start doing the PC versus Mac, and then to find him getting turned into a human walrus was something. It was appealing to me somehow.
I quite enjoyed it. I think he's a really good actor, and I do like that he did a lot of like horror films. Like I like seeing like when someone is like good with like horror. For example, I watched Pearl recently, X and Maxine, and I was like, oh my gosh, Mia Goth is amazing in all of them. And I like that when someone knows that they're good at horror, and I'm like, yeah, you go for it. You make it a good film.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. Sorry, Lauren. I want to ask this before I forget. What did you think of that trilogy of films?
I liked it. I thought it was quite interesting to kind of see like different time periods and just to kind of see like the different views of people and why people were acting a certain way they did in the films, and I find it quite entertaining.
Did you like one more than the other, or did it kind of just all one piece to you?
I think it was I think I liked I don't know. I think it was just like it was all just like a really good trilogy to kind of like watch. And I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that I watched it as I think I watched X, then Pearl, and then Maxine. And I'm glad that I watched it in that order because I think if I watched it in like the chronological order, I think I would have been like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now. It kind of maybe would have spoiled it a little bit for me.
I watched it in the exact same order and kind of felt the same way. I think if I had watched Pearl first, it would have lessened what I liked about the other ones. Where because I watched X first, it really grasped me into that world and like into that story, and then I was able to sit down and I kind of watched Pearl in a different lens, kind of.
Yeah,
So that I
I
just why I was
agree.
curious about how you watched them.
So what I was gonna say was, I'm glad you asked that because it's a really interesting one. But it seems like horror, I've noticed, always likes to create these worlds. You have things like the Nightmare on Elm Street with Primetime Bitch, and like he's used to have him for loads of films. You got the Friday 13th world. There's the Halloween world. There's the Maxine world. What would be the horror kind of universe you would want to live in?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I don't know. I think I'd like if, say, for example, like I was the lead in it. I'd like to kind of do different things. So, like throughout me acting, I've been like the villain, I've been the victim, I've been, like I've been a lady in a lake that's almost got hypothermia because I'm dancing in a lake. Like I've done a lot of different things, and I think just to be part of any of them, like I don't mind. Like my dream, it's gonna sound really weird, but like my dream that I have is don't care about fame. I don't care about being the main person. If I'm in like a like big film, and I'm just in the background, you have to like squint or you have to kind of like pause it really quickly. If I can go, that's me, and my names are on the credits. That's all I want. Like I genuinely just want to be part of something big. So I don't mind. I've never really thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's one of the things that we like to talk about a lot in the sense of like the horror genres and stuff. And my mind keeps getting changed on that, Lauren. Like we I know we've talked about this a lot. It's like, do I want to be in something crazy, something a little less crazy? Like it's not just on the acting side, but if it was like real life, like if you kind of go into that world, I don't know. But do you
Do
have
you
one
mean
that
like
you would?
have like something that you kind of envision, like your little world?
Yeah, no, I did. Well, we were just saying, like, if you could live in, like in the small town of Camp Crystal Lake, if the movies were real life and you had to live in that while that whole horror stuff is going on, is there one that you would choose?
I don't
Or
know
like,
what I
would you
mean
live?
about this. Would you
Would you be
like?
the third neighbor down on Elm Street? Like maybe not the main person, but
That's like really difficult because there's so many different universes, and I'm sure it would be cool to live in one of those universes, but at the same time, would you really want to risk being a victim in one of those universes? You have to like look at the risks of being like, yeah, I'm sure it's a cool neighborhood, but there's a murderer or there's zombies. So it's like, I'm not really sure what I want to do.
I mean, Jeepers Creepers would be good because you only have to survive once every 28 years.
That is true. That is true.
So if you look at that, but then you'd have to live in the middle of Florida, like not the nice, like beachy Florida, like the inland. No offense to people that live inland Florida, but like not Disney World either. Like because I think that was filmed in Florida, so like I think you'd have to live in like the more southern state Florida, and I don't know if I want to do that for 28 years just to wait for the vampire goblin king to rise from the ashes.
Do you guys have like one that you'd like to? Minus the negative stuff of murdering and killing.
I mean, I always said that and it's terrible because I'm gonna blank on it. But there's help me out, Chris. It's the 1980s film where this guy goes into a small town in Mendocino, California, and everybody turns out to be like dead but reanimated.
Oh, of course I'm going to blank on it now because I can even see the box cover.
I can see the box cover with the guy coming out of it in the blue, and this is so embarrassing that I can't. I'm gonna. It's on my like shelf there. I'm gonna have to look this up, and it's so embarrassing. But there's this really famous cult film. It's like Dead and Buried or something like that.
Yes, I think that is. I think that is it. Yes, I think that is it.
And if you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely on the like comedy side of horror, but it's a lot of fun. But basically, like this entire town are dead people that they've like remade and then you'd get to be one of the like I'd want to be one of the weird dead puppet people living in like the perfect life. I'm cool with being one of the creepy people in that. That's great.
I think I prefer that than being a zombie, like 100%.
At least you can still like dress and you can still eat makeup, or you don't eat brains at least, you know. It's never appealed. Have you ever done zombie makeup?
Yes, I have. For one of my photo shoots that I did, it was for a Sheffield Photographic Society, and it was for an exhibition. So yeah, I've done zombie makeup before on myself. I made myself look very pale, had like blue and bit of blood and things like that. Mostly I've done like vampire, like because it's like a little bit blood, finding stuff like that. I would love to be at some point like maybe like a demon, like full on like painted and horns and everything. Like I'd love to do that. So yeah, like I think I'd like to do that. Zombie wise though, terrified of them. I do have nightmares, but at least I know what to do because every time I have like a nightmare, I'm able to like plan out if it became a zombie society. Now I'm like, right, I know what to do. It's cool. Just please don't become a zombie society.
Oh, that's funny. You have an out for a zombie society. Like if the world goes to zombie land, like you know how to survive in that instance. Because I feel like my family's 1A, B, C, and D of death. Like we're the first four that turn into zombies. There's no unless it's Shaun of the Dead, slow, dumb zombies. There's no way that me or anyone in my family is surviving a zombie apocalypse.
I like that. You know exactly. You're like, yeah, I've got no chance. Yep.
We've got no chance. I lived through the pandemic, and my family was like, "We're going to the store. I can't be locked up." I'm like, "It's been 3 hours. Like, what are you talking? Are you kidding me here?"
Yeah. What are your zombie survival plans?
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of like these are ones that I've just had in my dream world though. So I know that like I definitely go raiding in. I wouldn't go to like supermarkets. I'd go to like maybe like takeaways and hotels and kind of like go raiding in there. Hotels would be good because if the lift's not working, you could like damage the stairs, so they could like break. So then you could just have like a rope to like get down and things like that. I think as well, like I'm quite big on plants, so I know I could like grow things as well. So I definitely go to like home base or like B&Q and like raid all like the seed packets and just like in the soil and kind of start growing things because you've got to eat somehow and eventually things do spoil. And fridges and freezers, yeah, they will last a little bit of time once they're off if the electricity goes down. But you've got to think realistically, you know, from a long term point of view. So yeah, like definitely grow your own plants. Learn gardening skills.
There aren't enough gardeners in zombie movies. That's a really good call. Where are
They're
the
all like
gardeners?
me.
Yeah.
No.
No,
I can't grow anything.
No. I killed a mint plant, what I have been told reliably is impossible to kill, because that's why I bought it. Nope, you can totally kill mint.
So it's genetic, is what you're telling me. Like I have no chance of making any kind of garden.
Nah, we're both screwed. But that's okay, because Lily will use our dead bodies as compost. So it's
There
all
you
good.
go. You'd have plenty of compost in a gardening world for zombie apocalypse.
Exactly. I'll just like have electric fence, zap them, and then just use the body for fertilizer. Why not?
There you go. Have you seen the movie Zombieland?
Yes, I have. Yes, a while
Okay,
ago.
it made me think when you were saying like you have your rules, and I think isn't that the movie where Michael Eisenberg has his rules for staying alive during a zombie?
Double tap is one of them.
Double tap is one of them. Like you always shoot him twice. It just made me think of that when like I was like, you know, Lily's rules for surviving a zombie apocalypse.
I think maybe I should write them down and like have a little like blog of like this is what you do in a zombie apocalypse. Like, you know,
100%. Yes.
That's a great idea. I want the zombie apocalypse gardening book. Let's get this going.
Yes. That'd be a seller.
Oh, so cool. Okay, so since you've seen Pet Sematary, then more afraid of human zombies or animal zombies?
I would
or
say
old men that just tell you that warn you not to go over there.
I would say humans, just because because I live in like Sheffield, it's quite a city, like it's a biggish city, and there's not that many like pets around. There are birds, but it seems to me like it would be safer to be in like a city, really, because if they are slow, I'm saying if they are slow. If not, definitely not. And it also depends if it was to transfer over to animals as well. Because if it's all animals, then you're buggered because one little ant could just crawl under your door and then that's it, you know. So yeah, it depends. It does depend.
I never even thought of zombie ants. You gave me a completely new thing to have nightmares about. Awesome.
I mean, I was going to say like earwigs as well, but
scary. Ever since watching Wrath of Khan, I have this deep fear of earwigs. Oh, I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't, but I'm sorry I gave you that idea. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's like this little alien thing that he puts in this guy's ear that eats his brain, and it's just blah. Anyway.
And that was a family movie that they took us to. That wasn't a horror movie. That's like a sci-fi starship movie, like, and it was, but yeah, still traumatizing.
Yeah.
I feel like back in the day, you could get a lot kind of with like the ratings and everything, you get away with a lot instead of like nowadays where I feel like it's a little bit more tamer. Like I look at the stuff that I was watching when I was a kid and I'm like, wow, that's highly inappropriate and I should not be watching that as a kid, but it was on TV, you know, and it's interesting, whereas now like definitely would not be on TV. So maybe that definitely wasn't a family movie, but it was somehow made it to be.
That was something we were saying the other day, because like, so we grew up with like Labyrinth and Return from Oz and Neverending Story, which are really scary if you're a kid, like properly scary. And nowadays, they're still rated G, so they're still rated for everyone. But nowadays, I think parents would be horrified if their kid was watching those.
Yeah, G is not PG or G when we were kids, by any means.
I recently watched Return to Oz because my partner was like, you have to watch it. And I was like, okay. And I didn't remember it, but it was on TV when I was a kid. And I watched it and I was like, this is not okay for children. Like, how is this a kid's film?
Yep.
That's how I feel about Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. And I don't know if they're related or not, but they're just movies that were definitely kid movies. Like we probably owned at one point where we could just put them on whenever. And I look at it now and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have let my kids watch that at a certain age.
No, you're totally right.
we had Goosebumps, like, as well. I think that's definitely not kid friendly, but it was specifically for children. So yeah.
Yep.
God, yeah, I loved Goosebumps. I still remember Mom insisting I get rid of it. I had the Goosebumps t-shirt with the one where the mask was seared to his face and it was like weeping on the cover. My mom was like, you can't wear that at school. I was like, yes, I want to wear my shirt.
Oh, good stuff.
Nice. Cool. Do you I'm gonna wind us up, but I want to end on a sort of fun note. So do you have a horror themed photo shoot you would really love to do?
I think it would be like demon. I think I just want to be like a demon, like just painted, like fully painted, and like nails and horns and like spikes and everything. I think that'd 100% be something that I would really want to do. But it is going to be a lot of effort to try and like plan that out. But yeah, maybe one day.
Do you have, my last question for you, do you have anything that I know Shed of Hell is taking up a lot of your focus right now, and rightfully so, like that's coming up right down the pipe, but do you have anything that you're filming or model shoots that you're that are in the near future, kind of after Shed of Hell, that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I've got a couple at the moment that I'm doing. I can't really say much about them because they're still in work in progress. But in one of the films that I'm doing, it is with one of the previous the companies that I've worked with before, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's with Cursed Ink Productions, and I'm looking forward to it because one of the films that I did previously was the one where I was a lady with the lake and I was freezing. I was literally like shivering and turning blue in this lake, like dancing. But it's a different role this time. I'm like I said, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say, but I'm looking forward to that coming out soon.
Very
but I've got
cool.
a couple of other things to kind of film with that as well, and I've got a couple of other projects as well. Have you guys got anything going on?
I mean, we're doing Darner, which is our next film that's going to be coming out as a sort of short later in the year. It'll do the festivals. But far more interestingly, though, since you can't reveal any secrets now, at some point you'll obviously be able to tell people. So where can our listeners go to find out about these things?
Yes.
Is your Instagram the best thing? Is the production company website? Where do we go?
So I would say it would be the Instagram for Cursed Ink Productions, or it would be for my Instagram as well. So it's LILI underscore Thorpe THORPE _, and that's my Instagram. And I do try and like update. I've not updated in a while, actually. I've been quite busy with this event, but yeah, like I do updates about everything. Like I'll update about this as well and do like a little like sneak peek of it and stuff like that. So I always try and make sure that people know what I'm doing, because I've got people that are like, hey, UK, you've not been posting a while. I'm like, oh no, I'm just busy. And then they're like, oh no, tell me. And I'm like, I can't just yet, I'm sorry. So yeah, like I always try and keep people updated on it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll pop up a card just here while I'm saying this. It'll have Lily's Instagram on it. It'll have Cursed Ink Instagram on it. And we'll also, of course, have the website for Shed of Hell if you don't have your tickets already. Because by the time this comes out, you've only got a couple weeks to get yourself to Shed of Hell. Amazing. Thank you so much, Lily. It's been a lot of fun. I am so looking forward to your zombie gardening cookbook. I can't even tell you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the good idea of the zombie cookbook. I love it.
Do it. I can't wait to have it in my. I don't cook, but I own cookbooks, so that will be one of them.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
And of course, thanks to all of our listeners here at the London Horror Movie Club. Thanks for listening. If you want to share your thoughts about this episode, please head to our Facebook or YouTube pages. We're grateful to Kukurbit, who made our music. Thank you for listening, and please join us next time for the London Horror Movie Club.